What's going on, family? This is Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. I want to take a look at a light heavyweight champion by the name of Jack Delaney. Now, Jack Delaney would hold that title from 1926 to 1927. He would have no title defenses. He would eventually relinquish that title in 1927. He was born March 18th, 1900, St. Francis du Lac, Quebec, in Canada. He would die November 17th, 1948, in Cotuha, New York. He would stand 5'11.5" and weigh anywhere between 158.25 pounds to 183.5 pounds. Fascinating disparity. He would have a fighting record of 75, 12 losses, 2 draws, 44 KOs. He would have 2 no contests, 2 no decisions, and 2 exhibitions. He would fight fighters such as Tommy Loughlin, who would be a light heavyweight champion of the world, Maxie Rosenblum, light heavyweight champion of the world, Pearl Berlenbach, light heavyweight champion of the world, Canadian Mike McTeague, who would take the title away from Badalinski. He would take that light heavyweight championship away from Badalinski. He would face him. He would face middleweight champion Tiger Flowers, George Robson, who was in the top 10 at the time, Johnny Risco, the Cleveland Baker boy, and a famous Palomino Escobar. Now, Palomino Escobar was notorious for exposing Joe Louis's left jab dropping after he threw his jab, as well as the right hand. Max Melling studied that fight film and said, "I see something," and that was the fight he was talking about. And in 1936, he kind of exposed it. Now, Jack Delaney's professional debut was 1919, October 9th, against Steve August in Bridgeport, Connecticut. He defeated him in 4 rounds. He had 3 fights that year. 1922, February 13th, he would fight a fighter by the name of Lou Bogas in Bridgeport, Connecticut, would defeat him in 15 rounds for the British Middleweight Championship of the World. December 11th, 1925, he would lose an opportunity to earn the Light Heavyweight Championship of the World against Paul Berlenbach. He would lose that fight and lose the opportunity, but he would get a second chance on July 16th, 1926. And he would win the light heavyweight champion of the world against Paul Berlenbach. June 1927, he would relinquish that championship. And in 1932, he would have his last fight against a fighter by the name of Leo One Punch Williams. He fought him April 21st, 1932. Now, Leo One Punch Williams was a colored lightweight champion. He could punch. And he would go back and forth with that title with a fighter by the name of Nobby Joe Gans. Now, Nobby Joe Gans, I did a profile on. Type in Nobby Joe Gans, Scrapbook Boxing, and you'll learn a lot about Nobby Joe Gans. He was a fascinating fighter. So let's take a look a little closer at Jack Delaney right here on the Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. So here you have Jack Delaney. Jack Delaney's name was Oliver Chaptil Delaney. He was born March 18th, 1900 in St. Francis, Canada. Like I said, he weighed 175 pounds and he stood 5'11.5". Delaney started his professional career in 1919 and retired in 1928 on December 11th. 1925, he challenged Paul Berlenbach for the light heavyweight championship, losing 15-round decision. But then he would win the title from Berlenbach on July 16th, 1926 in 15 rounds in Brooklyn, New York, but never defended the title, preferring to campaign as a heavyweight. And along his route, he would fight fighters such as Jimmy Slattery, Tiger Flowers, Tommy Loughlin, Johnny Risco, Mike McTeague, Maxie Rosenblum, all fascinating Hall of Famers, Jimmy Maloney, Paulino Escobar, Tom Heaney, that would be Gene Tunney's last opponent, Tom Heaney, and Jack Sharkey. Jack Sharkey would be heavyweight champion of the world. So you had Mike McTeague, who would be a light heavyweight champion, Maxie Rosenblum would be light heavyweight champion, Tiger Flowers would be middleweight champion, Tommy Loughlin would be light heavyweight champion. Fascinating career this man had. Delaney died on November 27th, 1948 in New York. And in 1919-1920, he has knockouts as follows. Tom Nelson, 2 rounds. Jack Green, 6 rounds. Tom Spencer, 4 rounds. Art Griffin, 7 rounds. Bill Gorman, 3 rounds. Jack Savage, 2 rounds. He would defeat Jim Hugo in 6 rounds. Jack McCorrin, 12 rounds. 1921, knockouts as follows. Young Jack Johnson, 3 rounds. I showed you Young Jack Johnson at one of the African American Police Gazette books a couple of videos back. So there you have it with Young Jack Johnson. Happy Howard, 10 rounds. Joe Rivers, 12 rounds. George Robinson, 12 rounds. Steve Chernesky, 12 rounds. Fascinating. I'm just going to skim on through here. 1924, January 4th, Jackie Clark, Norwalk, Connecticut. He would knock him out in 2 rounds. February 11th, Sailor Martin, New York City. He would knock him out in 1 round. February 19th, Tommy Loughran. Tommy Loughran was a fascinating boxer, a master boxer. Fought with his hands low, but he bounced from side to side, and he had such quick hands you couldn't even see the combinations coming. He was a light heavyweight champion of the world. Fought him in Boston and defeated him in 10 rounds. Fascinating defeat for Jack Delaney. March 14th, he would face another light heavyweight champion, Paul Berlin-Batch, New York City. We'd knock him out in 4 rounds. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. March 17th, Jackie Clark, Newark, New Jersey. No decision in 8 rounds. Leo Leonard, Bridgeport, Connecticut. Knock him out in 3 rounds. That fight would take place March 31st, 1924. Jimmy Slattery, October 6th, New York City. He would lose to him in 6 rounds. Referee disqualified McCarthy for not trying. That would be Pat McCarthy, October 27th in Boston. And Delaney would defeat him in 8 rounds because the referee stopped the fight because McCarthy just wasn't trying to fight. Didn't want that smoke. 1925, January 16th, Tiger Flowers. Like I said, he would be middleweight champion of the world after his defeat in 1926 over Harry Greb. And he would lose the title to Mickey Walker. He knocked him out in 2 rounds. Fascinating win for Jack Delaney. January 19th, Allentown, Joe Gans. He would defeat him in 10 rounds. A lot of people thought that Joe Gans won that fight. I did a profile on Allentown Joe Gans. Check that out. And you'll get a little more detail as to who Joe Gans was, Allentown, and about that fight. February 13th, Jimmy Slattery, New York City. He would lose to him in 6 rounds. Jimmy Slattery had over 200 fights. 250 fights to be exact. March 4th, Tiger Flowers, New York City. Knocked him out in 4 rounds. March 9th, Jamaica Kid, Buffalo, New York. He would knock him out in 2 rounds. March 20th, Soldier King, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Knock him out in 4 rounds. He would lose to Paul Berlin-Batch, as I stated, December 11th, 1925 in New York. He would lose 15 rounds to him for the light heavyweight champion of the world. 1926, January 15th, he would face Bob Fitzsimmons Jr. He would be known as Young Bob Fitzsimmons. New York City, he would defeat him in 10 rounds. January 25th, Tom Roper, Canton, Ohio. We knock him out in 12 rounds, excuse me. February 5th, Johnny Risco, Cleveland Baker boy, New York City. He would defeat him in 10 rounds. Fascinating. Quentin Rojas, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, would be knocked out by Jack Delaney in 4 rounds. That fight took place February 23rd, 1926. March 14th, he would face Mike Mateague of New York City. He would knock him out in 4 rounds. March 22nd, Maxie Rosenblum, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He would defeat him in 10 rounds. He would also fight a fighter by the name of King Solomon, April 26th in Hartford, Connecticut. He would defeat him in 12 rounds in 1926. That was a very good win for Jack Delaney. Excuse the blur. June 3rd, Tommy Burns, New York City. He would knock him out in 2 rounds. July 16th, Paul Berlin-Batch, Brooklyn. He would defeat him in 15 rounds, and he would win the World Light Heavyweight Championship of the world. Jamaica Kid, December 12th, Waterbury, Connecticut. Knock him out in 3 rounds. December 20th, Bud Gorman, good fighter, Jersey City. He would knock him out in 2 rounds. 1927 would be the last year he would hold that title. February 18th, Jim Maloney, New York City. He would lose to him in 10 rounds. August 11th, Paulino Escadon, New York City. I always say Palomino. He would defeat him on a foul in 7 rounds. September 14th, Johnny Risco, Cleveland Baker boy, Cleveland, Ohio, will lose to him in 10 rounds. Jack Runot, very good fighter. October 14th, 1927, New York City. He would defeat him in 10 rounds. December 9th, Paul Berlenbach, Chicago, Illinois. He would knock him out in 6 rounds. 1927, January 16th, Scully Montgomery, New York City. He would knock him out in 1 round. January 20th, Jack Humpback, Boston. He would knock him out in 6 rounds. Tom Heaney, January 1st, 1928, New York City. He would lose to him in 15 rounds. Now, Tom Heaney was a very, very tough fighter to fight. Just the style that he had at the time. April 30th, Jack Sharkey. He would be future heavyweight champion of the world, New York City. And he would be knocked out by Jack Sharkey in 1 round. Jack Sharkey would take the title away from Max Schmeling eventually. 1932, March 10th. Phil Johnson. Phil Johnson is the father of Harold Johnson. Harold Johnson would be eventually light heavyweight champion of the world. Bridgeport, Connecticut, he would knock him out in 2 rounds. March 29th, Cowboy Wills, Stamford, Connecticut, knock him out in 3 rounds. And then April 21st, he would fight Leo One Punch Williams, Hartford, Connecticut, knock him out in 1 round. Like I said, Leo One Punch Williams could fight. Couldn't do anything else, he could fight. He retired and entered into business. He had total bouts of 86. 42 knockouts. He won on a decision 27 times. He won on a foul once. He had 3 draws, lost on a decision 7 times, lost on a foul none. He was knocked out 3 times. He had 2 no decisions and 1 no contest. He died November 27th, 1948 in New York. Fascinating. Let's take a look at something. 1926, he won the light heavyweight championship of the world against Paul Berlenbach. 1927, gave up that title to chase heavyweight championship. He announced his retirement in 32. And he died in New York, November 27th, 1948 at the age of 48. His career record, they have 93 fights, won 79, lost 11, drew 1, no contest 2. So this is Jack Delaney, fascinating fighter at his time. Salute to Jack Delaney. I am going to enter him in my Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series, again, at the time in which he fought. Fighters he fought, Hall of Famers he fought. He didn't defend it, so he was almost not going to get into that Hall of Fame, but he did enough to get in there. And that's all I ask for fighters to do is fight. And this gets to show us their character. You know, we get a chance to see what kind of person that fighter is when he's in there with certain type of fighters. So salute to Jack Delaney, Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. All great fighters are never forgotten on my channel. I want to wish everyone a happy new year. And I'll see you guys in 2019. And I'll be having a new show with Kurt Sugar and retro boxing documentaries. Peace.